Hey everyone! Today we're looking at 7 cards that have been overlooked by most players. As always, I'm your Phoenix Gamer Solember, and I'm not here to beg you for likes or subs. You are all smart enough to know how this works, so I'll jump straight into it. The cards on this list are cards that I have used myself, and I've included deck suggestions based on my experiences. The only criteria I have is the card needs to have won me a decent amount of tournament games, and players show positive curiosity when that happens. Let's get to it. Number 1. Contract with Don Thousand. As always, I am starting this list off with the cards I have the strongest personal opinions about. Contract with Don Thousand has secured me a good amount of wins on the local level. I enjoy playing it, and I usually get players who have never seen the card before to pause and consider it when I use it. That, to me, is the kind of thing that makes the game fun. As for what it does, well, it's draw power, life point reduction, a bit of scouting, and a touch of stall all in one card. It definitely works in a lot of decks. Decks that I've used this card in include Burn, Hand Control, and Deep Draw. Number 2. Clashing Souls. Another personal favorite, Clashing Souls is an incredibly potent and chaotic card. It does something that no other card comes close to doing. It can rack up massive amounts of life point loss for both players, and it can very easily wipe out one player's entire field. This card is drastically overlooked, but I value it as a strong going second card. If you have cards that can't be destroyed by battle while using Clashing Souls, you can effectively guarantee a field wipe or an OTK with very little effort. The deck I use this most in is Mecha Phantom Beast. Many of their monsters have built-in destruction protection, and they can easily pull off the last sliver of damage needed. Other decks to consider this in may be burn decks with weak monsters. Number 3. Goddess of Sweet Revenge. The Queen of the Comeback, this card will help you immensely if you are comfortable with the long play. This hand trap was tossed aside rather quickly when released, but there are plenty of ways to play into her. I think the best thing about this card is the reaction the opponent has when you play it. Being able to turn a losing situation into an advantage at an unexpected time with an unfamiliar card just hits with a certain degree of satisfaction. Decks that I recommend this for are Monster Mash, Monarchs, and Stall. Number 4. Switcheroru. Here's an excellent card that doesn't require a lot of effort to convince people about its potential. Switching control of your field with your opponents can cause all sorts of fun scenarios. I like to use this with spirit monsters because they return back to the hand, meaning you'll take your opponent's monsters and get yours back. There are a lot of decks that can use this to great effect. I recommend Cyber Dragon, Super Poly, Paleo, Token, and Spirit decks. Number 5. Magical Hats. Here's an old card that a lot of people know about, but many wouldn't play. It does seem like a mediocre card at first glance, but there is certainly a lot of potential to be seen. For starters, it allows for flip effect monsters to be reset. Second, it allows you to search for spells and traps and use them as monsters. There are a lot of spells and traps that can activate their effects from the graveyard, or that just activate when they're destroyed on the field. But there's also a lot to be said about toolboxing and deck thinning. Consider this card in Ojama, Penguin, Deck Out, Subterror, Shadal, and Stall decks. Number 6. Fiend Comedian. I'll likely bring this card up on a lot of lists because it has saved me many times over the last decade, and I cannot stress how good it is. It can populate your graveyard or banish your opponents with a coin flip, and while that comes down to a game of chance, it is almost always a win-win situation. You will be either eliminating your opponent's graveyard kit or filling up your own. The best time to activate this card is when the opponent is targeting a card in their own graveyard, as you will then have a chance of voiding their effect completely. Too many decks benefit from Fiend Comedian to list, but you can't go wrong with Lightsworn, Burning Abyss, or Twilight decks. Number 7. Black Garden. This might seem controversial on an overlooked card list, as Black Garden has seen some use in some decks over the years, but its potential has been majorly neglected. It's pretty straightforward in what it does. Summon plant tokens, cut monsters' attack, maybe special summon a monster. So where does it shine beyond that? Well, there are a good many decks that can summon 5 or more times in one turn with ease, and that means this card can populate the opponent's field with tokens. Many decks cannot play around 5 tokens, and will be locked out of their extra deck if they can't tribute them. This creates a niche floodgate deck concept I might explore at a later date. The special summon effect can come in handy if you have a lot of cards with 8, 16, 24, or 3200 attack. Additionally, Black Garden can be used to bypass common counters such as Nibiru. I recommend this card in plants, obviously, but also in frogs, ladder play, one-card combo, and monarch decks. There you have it. That's the list. Thank you for your time. Remember to treat yourself and others with respect and kindness. I couldn't do any of this without you all. If you ever want to chat about anything, you can hit me up on Twitter at boxgods with an underscore. That's box_gods. I will make time. Until the next video, I hope you have nothing but incredible duels. Thanks, guys.